Right, here I am, yeah. Orwell's again. What am I on? Royal Enfield Shotgun. Yeah, I've ridden it before. Let's get the ignition on. Ding. Single round clock with tripper and a round starty thing. And there we go. The sound of that wonderful 650 parallel twin. Air cooled. Oh, nice and comfy. That's what I liked about the shotgun after riding the Super Meteor. But it's principally the same bike, so it should be the same, but sometimes the way a bike looks can make the way you feel about a bike. But what I'll do is I'll get out into the country and we'll do a walk round. Yeah. I love the sound of that engine though. I'll catch you in a minute. Right, so here it is. Royal Enfield Shotgun. It's ages since I rode this. I rode it when it first came out. 650 parallel twin, 45 brake horsepower, 42 newton meters of torque, 240 kilos, lighter than the Super Meteor by 3 kilos. Don't know where they've lost that 3 kilos, but I reckon all these specs are a little bit up and down anyway. When I first reviewed this bike, I said then, this is the new classic. But I just had a feeling that this is what they were going to use. They'd put this little cowl on it, which is really nice touch. I like that. And it's metal. Good sized tank. Can't remember what it is. About 15 litres, something like that. But a good sized tank. In sort of a cruiserish style. I don't mind the look of it. Unfortunately, some of the paintwork design, this one is probably the best plain grey. Yeah, some of the others with the graphics on, I'm not a fan of. The blacked out engine makes it, I guess, less precious from a cleaning point of view. It's got this. It's absolutely filthy at the moment, covered in dust. I don't know where I've picked that up from, but it's really shiny and wipes clean easy. You know, you can see just from that. So it's going to be easy to clean, particularly for a winter bike maybe, you know, when we get all that rain and stuff. It's fairly comfy. I find it far more comfy than the Super Meteor. But it does have that same stiff rear end and quite stiff front end. Of course, it doesn't have all the polishy bits and chrome and the what do they call it? You know, the cowl over the front that the Classic has got. But this is a much more practical bike, as well as stylish, I suppose. Seat height 795, so it's nice and low for most people. And the back, oh, let's have a look at that, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, that lifts off and you've got a rack. All of a sudden you've got a single seat just with the turn of the key. Don't know what you do with your seat. I suppose you leave it at home, but that just goes back on there, locks back on, and the seat's back on. I don't know if having the key there makes an effect for the pillion. I doubt it. It's sunk well down. Yeah. The controls, it's got the push round dials for the lights and for the pass and the starter. Just absolutely where you would expect them to be. You've got a fair bit of information on the clock, on the speedo, the single clock, which is offset one way. The reset button, you scroll through it there. You've got your fuel gauge, you've got your trips, you've got your eco, you've got time, gear indicator. I don't think you need any more than that. You've got the trip, which also doubles up as another clock, just in case the clock on this side is too small for you to read. The exhaust's big and heavy, but it does give it quite a nice sound, and I think you could possibly change them if you were so minded. The foot position, mid, perfect for me. That's what really reminded me of the classic 500, was the foot position on it. I just can't do the feet forward, and I think on a long journey it makes it actually quite difficult, if your feet are forward, for you to just take some weight off your bum, whereas if they're underneath you or mid like that, you can. So for me, it's a very practical bike. The shapes on it, I love this light, the shape of the light at the back. Fairly big mudguard, which is, can't work out whether that, I think that's metal. Big plastic indicators, hand grips, and of course you're going to be able to get panniers for this. You're going to be able to get a pannier rail for it. Overall, I think it's a pretty decent looking bike, and it is one that I would consider. I love this engine. I absolutely love it. I love the sound it makes. I find the engine sound as therapeutic as riding, and it makes you play it like a musical instrument, I suppose. But it's got alloy wheels, which I don't think look too bad. The brakes, considering it's 240 kilos, absolutely ample stopping power. Particularly the back brake seems really good. This bike feels really well set up as well, because times when they come out of the crate, they need a little bit of setting up, and I've set this one up well. That's what I would say. Let's get on and ride it, because that's what it's all about, isn't it? Yeah. Right, here I am, back on board. Ignition on, brrr, ding, wonderful. It feels, as soon as you get on this bike, it feels solid. It feels like you're on a big hunk of metal. And you are. There's no way around that. Yeah. So, where to start? Obviously, I've been riding it around a little bit. I've used all the petrol. I'm hopeful I'm going to make it back from the walk around bit here, not too far. But we'll see. We'll see how thrifty it is. So I'm not going to go crazy, is what I'm saying. Let's get the visor closed. Not that much. Mickey Mouse mirrors, absolutely ideal. Some people don't like them. I find them actually really good for seeing out of. Very practical. And I do like how they frame your view of where you're going. I do really like this bike. I've got to be honest. I favour it over the Super Meteor. I like the engine so much. The Interceptor doesn't fit me quite right. This fits me an awful lot better. The Classic also fits me very similar to this, because I think principally this is a Classic 650, or the Classic 650 is a shotgun, whichever way you want to look at it. They are about the same price as well, surprisingly. You would have thought that the Classic 650 would be a lot more money. but it's not. That engine does sound wonderful. I know I keep saying it. I've never used the Tripper. A lot of the bikes that I've ridden have had it. I've never bothered connecting my phone to it. If I had one, I probably would. Yeah, that's what I could say about that. The seating position, it's sort of sitting down in a chair type position. It's very, very comfortable. The way my hands fall on the bars is very easy. All the switch gear just falls into your hand as well. Dead easy to reach. You don't have to look to see where anything is. It's where you'd expect it to be. Intuitive. The shiny bits, I don't know quite what to make of it. I can see the practical. I've just wiped some of the shiny bits and the dirt just comes off it. And I've got to think, as a winter bike, or if it does get dirty, you know, autumn time, it is going to be easy to clean. When you get up to 60 miles an hour, you do start to get vibration, and that suspension does feel quite firm. I don't think it's anything that is going to put you off. And after all, gotta watch those potholes on that corner. And after all, you are riding an engine, and I do like to know that I'm riding something with an engine. You know, smooth is nice at times, but to hear that mechanical chatter and the whine and the cam and the exhaust all together, it's what motorcycling is about. And if it's not about that for you, then I don't know whether you like it or not. Enough information there. But 45 brake horsepower, I know it's enough for everyday motoring. You're not going to go racing about. The torque, it's already pulling 240 kilos very, very easily. Will it pull 240 kilos up steep hills? Yeah, it will. The Super Meteor does. I know that for a fact. And so I have no doubt that this will. I would have liked this to be cheaper than the Classic though. If this was cheaper than the Classic, if I was toying between I thought he was going to slide back down again then. If I was toying between the Shotgun and the Classic, I'd probably go for the Classic, or would I? I don't know. It's close for me. They feel very similar. Oh, you're going too quick. The rear suspension is comfy enough. It feels better than it does on the Super Meteor, and I'm sure with some different shocks it'd be even better, and even a different seat. But it's fine for me just as it is. And I mean, the way that back seat lifts off, it's just so easy and so handy to strap something to. I like the cowl at the front. But we best do the senses test, haven't we? And the cowl made me think of that, and I'll tell you why when we get to it. First of all, what does it taste like? I think this has got to be a mocha or something like that. Quite a heavy coffee, you know? Quite a thick coffee is what I'm saying. It was going to wake you up and you're going to look cool drinking it. Yeah, it's sort of modern. I don't know what class of bike you would put it in. It's not, I don't think it is retro. That engine is, obviously, but this is a modern bike for, I don't know, dare I say hipster? I don't know. I like it, whatever. What does it smell like? Brand new bike still. Of course it does. No smell of oil, and definitely no water or anything. No smell of petrol, nothing's leaking, so it just smells like a new bike. The lights come on now, so now I am starting to think, will I make it back? Then what does it look like? Well, we've sort of covered that. It's a cruiser-ish style, I would say. I don't know what they call what Royal Enfield describe it as, but I would say it's sort of cruiser-ish. It's also a very practical looking bike because of how smooth all the surfaces are, the big mud guards, the blacked out engine. Then what does it feel like? I love it. I love the shapes of it. I love the shiny, soft feel everything has. And that cowl, like I said at the beginning of this, is what made me think about it. To run your hand over that, I like that. And I have noticed Freddie Dobbs has started feeling everything. I don't know if you noticed that in his last one when he collected the classic 650. But that's an aside. Yeah, so the quality is top notch. It's, you know, the Royal Enfield have been there for a little while now, a couple of years at least, where they've lifted the game up, and it does feel like a very solid, well-made bike. The sound, I love the sound of the engine, you know that. The sound of the exhaust, you can probably improve, a bit muffled, but it does have a nice sound, a sound of the 60s. And then how does it make me feel? Well, I like it, I really like it. It makes me feel happy, it makes me feel relaxed, but also quite sporty. When you get going around the corners, the handling's not too shabby at all. The front feels a bit loose, and it does feel a little bit lazy, but not as lazy as the Super Meteor, which is strange given they're probably exactly the same setup. I guess every bike's an individual as well, and they change over time. This hasn't done very many miles, and you know, in another 1,000 miles it might feel completely different. I'm also trying to think where there's a petrol station, because I should make it. I reset the trip when the light came on, so I've only done 1.4 miles, so I should be okay. Yeah, so that's where I am with it. I like it a lot. Would I own one? Yeah, I think I possibly would. Would I own it over the Classic? I don't know. I just don't know, is the answer to that one. If the price was better, probably, but at the same sort of money, I'm gonna zip down here. That pulling in second. Anyway, I'll bring you back when I get closer to Orwell's. Yeah, ta-ta. Right, so we're almost back at Orwell's. I'm surrounded by bikes making lots of noise. Yeah, what a fantastic dealership they are. I've managed to get them put a tenner's worth of petrol in, so I'm definitely going to make it now. But I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Thoroughly enjoyed riding it. It's been an absolute pleasure as usual. Yeah, I've got to take it back though, as usual, but we'll stop and have one last look at it before I do. Just stop here and have a look. Side stand down without looking, and of course it's got a centre stand before I forget. Let's have a little look. There you go, Royal Enfield Shotgun 650 here at Orwell's. Absolutely marvellous.